Hi there, Miss Brown's back to my at-home learners. So today I'm going to do a little video about pedigree. And you know, a pedigree chart on your notes, you wrote that a pedigree chart can trace a trait through a family. Okay, it can tell you who has the trait, who doesn't have the trait, and maybe who's the carrier. It just depends on the pedigree chart and who made it. I'm also going to link you a little video here that you can watch. And I think the Meba sisters have one too if you'd rather watch one on their channel. I think they have a couple about pedigree charts if you'd like to watch that too. But what I thought I would do today is kind of construct one and show you how they're put together. And I'm going to use my family. And I'm going to trace the trait of curly hair, which you can tell I seem to be showing. Okay, so on a pedigree chart, the squares are males and the circles are females. Okay, so let's get that straight first. The squares are male, right? That's a symbol for male, and the circles will be females. Okay, also there's usually a legend or a key, just like on a map somewhere, and it may tell you all sorts of things. It might say if they're colored in, you know, that shows the trait. Like mine's going to be that way. So colored means curly hair. Okay, and blank would mean straight. And let me say this: there's all different kinds of curly hair. You girls know this, boys probably don't. There's wavy. There's curly, there's super kinky. Most of us have some curl in our hair. If you get much frizz, you got some curl in your hair. Not too many people have real stick straight hair. Some people do, and some people in my family do. But most people have some kind of curl or wave in their hair. Okay, so and there's different degrees of that, which has to do with your texture and also how thick it is and that sort of thing. And if it's gray or not. When it gets gray, different things happen there too. Don't you have a lot to look forward to? All right, so I'm going to start here. I think I can make this fit. I'm going to start with my grandparents, okay? So, of course, my grandfather was male. He'll be square. Trying to draw from the side. This is kind of hard. Now, when there is a line between, that means that that's a couple that had children, okay? So my grandmother is round, okay? Now, remember I told you that we would color in if they had the trait, and my grandma had curly hair. She had pretty hair. She had a good head of hair. Okay. Now, you'll see over to the side, often they use Roman numerals. You've learned about those in history, I guess. And this would be generation 1, right? My grandparents. Now, when they have children, you mark them like this, come down. Now, they had 3 boys that lived to adulthood, okay? So, let's go like this. We're going to have 3. This is going to get pretty involved. Okay. Now, in generation 2, you start with the oldest sibling to the left, and then you move down. Okay? So I said they had how many? 3, and what was the gender? Male. So they'll be squares, right? Okay. Okay. So oldest, middle, youngest. And we'll have a 2. I haven't left much room. Have a 2 there. There's my generation 2. Okay. So we'll put their wives, which will be round, right? Their gender was female. Okay. Oldest boy, he had some wave. Okay. Middle boy, straight. Youngest boy had to curl. Okay. Okay. Okay, then we had straight for this wife, straight for this wife, and this wife had curl. Okay, so now we have generation 2 laid out. Okay, now let's work on generation 3. Now, here's something you might see on family pedigree charts. This couple had 2 daughters, so what shape will they be? They'll be round, right? It might tell you, because this is about genetics, and I'm not saying that a person who's adopted is not any more or less loved. We love her just as much as we love anybody else, but the oldest daughter in this family was adopted. So there might be a little star there or a mark or something to let you know it's adopted, because the genes wouldn't match up exactly, right? And she did have curly hair, so I'm gonna color her in, as did this one. Okay. All right. Then this couple, they just had one girl, straight, lucky her. We always said she was lucky. She never got the frizz. This couple has three. I'm going to have to make it kind of lopsided. Has three children. Girl, boy, girl. Okay? This is me, by the way. Okay? So now we're on generation 3. I should have come down a little bit with that. So I have curly, as you know. My brother has straight, and my sister got the curl. Okay? So then we put, okay, he had curly, straight. Okay? Now, as you probably know, I have 2 girls. So now we're on generation 4, right? So I have 2 girls. And my sister has 2 girls. Okay. And they're all curly. So what happens to their little shape? Let me see it. Oh, curly. Okay, so how many generations in my pedigree? 4, right? Okay. And even though they're kind of lopsided, you can tell maybe from the shapes, the circles are females and the squares are males. The video will do a much better job than I've done. These videos I've linked for you, okay? So 4 generations. And the neat thing about this is this curly trait, this allele, remember we pass them down generation to generation. And I can trace, because, here's me and here's my girls, and I can trace this curly trait all the way back to my grandma and all the way back to their great-grandma. And I know from what she told me years ago that her dad actually had curly hair. That's where they all got that from. So I think that's just kind of neat that you can trace it. But they use this in genetic counseling for diseases, genetic diseases we talked about, like cystic fibrosis, albino, PKU, sickle cell anemia. Those are some of those diseases we wrote down in our notes that can be traced if you go to a genetic counselor if you're concerned about your children's chances of inheriting those diseases. Thank you, and you can watch the other videos to help you also.